Fairy World.
Long ago, in the quiet village of Elara, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Elara. She worked tirelessly in a tailor's shop, stitching gowns for the wealthy while wearing old, faded clothes herself. Though poor, Elara's spirit shone brighter than gold. She often dreamed of wearing a dress so beautiful that it could light up the night sky. One evening, after finishing her chores, she wandered into the forest to rest by the silver stream. As she sat beneath the glowing moon, a soft voice called her name. Startled, she looked up to find a fairy with wings shimmering like starlight. "Elara," said the fairy, "your pure heart has been seen. Tonight, I shall gift you something wondrous." With a wave of her wand, the fairy conjured a gown that glistened with every color of dawn. Elara gasped. It was more magical than anything she had ever imagined. The fairy placed the dress gently into Elara's hands. Its fabric sparkled like woven moonlight, and tiny gems glowed softly, as if alive. "This dress is enchanted," the fairy explained. "It will bring you happiness, but only if your heart remains pure. Use it wisely." Grateful tears welled in Elara's eyes. She promised to treasure it. The next day, the kingdom announced a grand ball at the palace where the prince would choose his bride. Elara longed to go, but she knew her stepmother would never allow it. At night, when her family left for the ball, Elara slipped into the dress. Instantly, her old shoes turned into crystal slippers, and her hair glowed like golden silk. When she entered the palace, all eyes turned to her. Whispers filled the hall. Who is she? A princess from another land. Elara's magical dress shimmered brighter with every step. The music slowed as the prince noticed Elara. He was captivated, not just by her beauty, but by the kindness radiating from her smile. He approached and bowed. "May I have this dance?" Elara nodded shyly, and together they glided across the marble floor. The magical dress sparkled, reflecting light like 1,000 stars. Everyone in the ballroom stood in awe. Elara felt like she was dreaming, yet deep inside, she remained humble and gentle. The prince spoke softly. "I have never met anyone like you. Who are you?" Elara hesitated, fearing her secret would be revealed. But before she could answer, the palace clock struck 12. Suddenly, the dress began to lose its glow. Frightened, Elara fled the ballroom, running down the palace stairs. In her haste, one of her crystal slippers slipped off. The prince picked it up, determined to find the mysterious girl who had stolen his heart. Back at home, Elara carefully folded the magical dress away. She feared her stepmother would discover it, so she hid it beneath her bed. The next day, the entire kingdom buzzed with news. The prince was searching for the mysterious maiden who had left behind the crystal slipper. Guards went door to door, testing the slipper on every young woman. Elara's stepsisters tried to force their feet inside, but the slipper would not fit. Her stepmother laughed cruelly. "Why would a prince look for a poor girl like you?" But when the guards insisted every maiden must try, Elara stepped forward. As she slipped her foot inside, the crystal shoe glowed, fitting perfectly. Gasps filled the room. At that moment, the magical dress shimmered through the wooden chest, as though rejoicing. The guards bowed deeply, and Elara's stepmother stood frozen in disbelief. Elara was taken to the palace, where the prince greeted her with joy. "I knew it was you," he said warmly. The magical dress reappeared, wrapping her in radiant light. The prince declared her the most graceful soul he had ever known. But as Elara prepared to speak, the fairy appeared once more. "Elara," she said, "remember my words. The dress is powerful, but it is not the source of your worth. Your kindness, humility, and courage are what make you truly magical." Elara bowed her head in gratitude. She looked at the prince and confessed the truth. that she was not a princess, but a poor seamstress. To her surprise, the prince only smiled. "That makes me admire you even more," he said gently. "For it is not riches I seek, but a heart as pure as yours." The kingdom rejoiced at the announcement of the prince's choice. Elara was no longer the poor seamstress but the future queen. Yet she remained the same kind girl, treating everyone with love and compassion. She opened a new workshop where gowns were made not for gold, but for smiles, so that even the poorest girl could feel beautiful. The magical dress was placed in the palace, not as a symbol of wealth, but as a reminder that true beauty lies in kindness. Every year, during the spring festival, the dress would shine again, blessing the kingdom with joy. The fairy visited Elara often, proud of how wisely she had used her gift. And whenever children asked about the glowing gown in the palace, Elara would smile and say, "The most magical dress is the one stitched with kindness and worn with a pure heart." Thanks for watching.